Okay, so hello everyone. We are from Group 4, and now we're going to discuss about the Module 1 self-reflection. It's about the cultural identity, the cultural differences on intercultural communication, and also diversity on conflict management. So in here we have me and my friends. My name is Evita, and there's Sarah, Aldrino, Nabila Putri, and also Nabila Syachfitria. Now let's start to discuss on the questions. Question one. So the question one is about the culture and identity, which cultural identity backgrounds have affected in our belief, values, and way of thinking or behaving, and also give the example on the most and the least cultural identity backgrounds, and also giving an example in what way, also to reflect on how these cultural identity backgrounds are reflected in our questionnaire scores in terms of self-control, communication style, and also the conflict styles. So, for me first, I think in my opinion, there are so many factors that influence my belief, values, way of thinking, and also way of doing some things. And also, for explanation first, my self-control is more into balance. The communication styles is action-oriented communication, even though my score is similar also to idea and process-oriented. And also, the conflict styles is more into integrating conflict management. So, I think the factors that influence me the most is the combination between the geography and also the biological traits. Yeah, for the geography is more to like the nationality, the regions, and also the biological traits is more to the race and ethnicity. Because I think the geography for like Indonesian cultures, the regions, traditions also make me like more balanced in terms of self-control because of the society itself, the community, because it makes me feel like being more valued to the sense of belonging in my social group. So it makes me think to respect other people also in terms of their culture, their ethnics, and also to become more diverse. I think it's also because the effect of high context culture effect in Indonesia. So I think it's the most influence in my beliefs, values, and ways of thinking, and also the biological trait, the race and ethnicity. Because I'm a Chinese Indonesian, I also think that this also affects me because, in my opinion, Chinese Indonesian is tend to be like less vocal in expressing affections and feelings. So it makes me to become more action oriented, and also I also have higher score for process and idea oriented for communications because I feel like the lesson I got from my parents, they are also Chinese Indonesian, also like very punctual and organized in doing something. So that's why I sometimes don't really like to chat with other people yang kayak terlalu bertele-tele karena I'm into more actions gitu. Terus mungkin kalau yang the least lebih ke language karena meskipun bahasa Indonesia itu kayak considered as the rich language in terms of vocabulary, I think like the least influencing factors for me is the language because I think I haven't explored many things in diversity through language, and I haven't interact also with diverse people. Terus itu membuat kayak I haven't been exposed to unique culture of Indonesia and also unique traditions of Indonesia through language gitu. Kayaknya dari aku segitu dulu. Mungkin dari yang lain ada yang pengen discuss lagi?
For me, the most influential cultural identity is probably philosophy, especially religious identity. Moreover, religious beliefs over a moral compass that guide my actions and decisions based on principles such as compassion, forgiveness, and also integrity. It also influence various aspects of my daily life, such as dietary, uh, dress code, and social interaction. And moreover, uh, in my religion, we have such a like strong community, and we also have like uh, an annual, various annual religious events that gathers us every time we are in that uh, period of time. So like it continuously like construct my like way of thinking, then decision, and also like it also influenced my values also. And I agree with Evita that the least is probably language, because I think no matter what and how we speak does not necessarily represent or affect our values, and it is just a matter of how we deliver it. So I think it doesn't really matter. And I think because of the the impact of philosophy, especially in religious identity, it also like uh also connects with my self-control, which is balance, and my communication style, which is action-oriented, and conflict management style, which is integrating. So it really, I got it from the religious, my religious identity. So from me, maybe uh, some of you want to give your opinion.
Okay, I agree with Evita too. I think the cultural identity backgrounds has affected our belief, values, or ways of thinking or behaving. So for the most is geography. So I will give some examples that as a college students, I will certainly meet many people, different cities or countries with different cultures, backgrounds. So this is something new for me because I have to adapt to these differences where I have to respect each other. Why? Because I grew up and was born in Bandung, so the scope of environments is Bandung people, which is the culture is Sundanese. So when I entered the campus as a college student, it became a new thing. So that I learned many new things from all of them. Then I'll always try to learn how I should act or deal with these differences without hurting others, people's feeling. And I agree too with the least is language. I think language has not affected me. Let's say when conversing with people, I'm sure that they are not going to assume I will start speaking in their language, and neither will I expect them to do the same. But for example, when I'm as a tourist, I'm talking to the local people there, and I'm Bandung person with the Sundanese cultures. Then there are local people who speak Japanese. Meanwhile, I cannot speak Japanese. They will know and understand that I'm a tourist who cannot speak Japanese. So we can speak in normal Indonesians. And then based on our educational scores, my self-control is independence. Maybe sometimes I don't feel like bothering others while I can still do it myself. If I feel that I can do my job, then I will try do it myself. And I think I also sometimes feels that I should depend on myself because not everything has to rely on other people's. Other people may not necessarily help us fully because they also have their own needs. And but if I feel that it's hard to do it, it I will ask people to help me. And they for the communication style is people. I think this course is relates. This course is talking about the communications, people, and so on. And honestly, I'm the person who feels like gak enakan to the other people. So I really pay attention to know how I should act or communicate with people without hurting them, then I really take care of good relationship to keep in touch with each other in the long terms. And for the last is uh conflict style. So my conflict style is collaborating. uh I really like collaborating when I should solve a conflict. So with the collaborating, I can exchange ideas and get a lot of insight from others. I think that's it. And how about you guys?
Okay. Well, about for me, since I'm like Evita, Chinese Indonesia, so the most cultural identity that affected my belief, way of thinking, or behaving is a biology trait with cultural aspects, which is race and ethic. One example that I want to share with you guys, that Chinese Indonesia have a culture event, which is Chinese New Year, that you all guys already know. That every one a year, that we uh, gather with extended family to celebrate this event, like Idul Fitri that you guys right now uh, jalanin. Lebaran ya, kan kalian juga pulang kampung untuk ketemu keluarga besar. The purpose of this gathering that I learned is so we can get all to know and become closer to our extended families, because we can see each other every day. This influenced many things about me, because with that I learned that gathering with family is very important in order to maintain good relationship, uphold family ties. So the least cultural identity that affected my beliefs, values, and way of thinking, same like you guys, which is language, because in our family, language is not that really important. You just like, you can talk all the way you want, selama itu masih sopan. Like, you can use Indonesia, English, or even Chinese. They doesn't really matter. But there's also one double list also, which is the event itself, the Chinese New Year event itself. I don't know if it is only my family or other family too, but every year, setiap tahunnya Chinese New Year kayak udah nggak begitu wah lagi gitu loh. Kayak apa ya, kayak setiap tahunnya tuh udah jarang ngumpul. We nearly go to see our big family, and I don't know it's just my family or every family, but this also affect my way of my thinking, that this habit can also be lost even if it's with my own family, by gathering, even it is with my own family. So by gathering together, it becomes reflection of the questionnaire that I have filled out. My self-control is interdependent. Therefore, I am happy if the values of togetherness appears, because I prefer being in a group rather being alone. With this habit of gathering, I can meet many people and rely on them to help me to be a better person. My communication style is people-oriented. Therefore, I am very happy when I meet a lot of people, especially my own family. Therefore, when I celebrate Chinese New Year, I can relate well with many people. And the last thing is conflict styles. I am myself compromising, because in the Chinese New Year, there are a lot of people that want to meet in one place. So pastinya ada problem. Jadi that I suggest to my family, you just should compromise to set when the time, date, and place, so everyone can go to the same place and meet other people. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so as for me, I think the cultural identity background that have affected my beliefs, values, my way of thinking, and also behavior is somewhat similar to you guys. It's the geography, which is my nationality as an Indonesian, and also my residence in Jakarta, as I was born and raised in Jakarta. Why I think my residence in Jakarta is one of the most influential factors to me is because, as a human being, of course, I cannot live and stand alone every day. I would have to interact with other human beings with the same nationality, and also they have their residence in Jakarta as well. And I think these interactions that I have had with them has shaped my behavior and also the value that I hold. Like, for example, upholding the value of tolerance. Like, we all know that Jakarta is a city with really diverse cultures, languages, and also religions. So, like, on a day to day basis, I would have to interact with people with various backgrounds. And these differences never really affected my perspective on those people and how I treat them. To view them based on their ethnicity and religions would not even cross my mind from the first place. Like, I would view them as the same. And that is why I think living in Jakarta has affected the values that I hold and my ways of thinking when facing cultural and religious differences. Like, I have a really high tolerance and acceptance over these differences. Like, to meet people from different backgrounds is not something weird for me, because I have experienced that my whole life because I have been living in Jakarta since I was born. And I think this is also, sorry. And my nationality as an Indonesian also has shaped me to be very dependent on others. And I always put forward collectivism and agreeableness. Like, for example, when I have to make a decision as a member in a group or organization, I would think of the best for the majority of everyone. And I also want to make sure that everyone is okay with the decision in order to maintain harmony in the team. And I think this is also reflected in my questionnaire answer as well. Like, for my self-control, I got a significantly higher score on interdependence, because for me, it is very important to stick together with people and have each other's back. And my communication style is also more people oriented, because I think communication is very important in building good teamwork, and we should be empathetic towards each other to maintain a good relationship. And for my conflict management style, I'm more leaning towards integrating, because I really uphold collaboration and I have a high concern for others, but also high concern for myself. So I'm always trying to find the best solution for everyone, including myself. And for the factor that gives me the least influence, maybe it's very different with you guys. For me, it's actually ethnicity, because I'm born with very mixed ethnicities. Like, my parents both have mixed ethnicities in their blood. Like, my mother is half Sundanese, half Bataknese, while my father is half Cirebon, 1/4 Bangka, a quarter more Sundanese. So, like, it's very mixed. Therefore, I have so many ethnicities in me, and it's very rare or almost never that my ethnicities affect my ways of thinking, behavior, or values that I hold. Because both of my parents were also raised in Jakarta, so none of them really make their ethnicity as a basis for like certain values or actions. Like, for example, when I'm in Bandung, I would say punten if I want to talk to someone or ask for permission. But it's not because I'm part Sundanese, it's just because it's a form of adaptation because I'm in Bandung. So I don't think my ethnicity has really influenced me in any way. Gitu, guys. Maybe moving on to next question.
I think we're somewhat similar in many factors actually. Apalagi in the least one, the language one. There's many of us that say the least one is the language, and also I've also become more aware that I also affected in terms of location because I also live in Jakarta, like Sarah said. So it makes me becomes like more tolerance towards each other, and also I think because I live in Jakarta, I becomes more like face-based in thinking and also decision making because of the occasion itself. So I think we're going to move to questions 2, which is the cultural differences and intercultural communications among the various model of cultural differences, which is there is the Hofstad's, the Globe project, Halls and Lewis, we will discuss how this model generally helps us to understand ourselves and others, and also give examples in terms of the individualism or distance, high context or low context. And for me itself, I personally think the best model that suits me to understand more will be the Hall's model, because this model is the one that gives you the type of culture divided by two, the high context culture and the low context culture. So I think this best suit for me, because I think the Hall's model is more detailed in giving the characteristic on how the difference in culture and communication behave and act differently in different countries. And also it can give more gap that I can understand more when being compared to each other. For example, in Hall's model, we can see that Indonesia belongs to the high context culture, meanwhile the United States is in the low context culture. So in Hall's model, it will show that Indonesia with high context will have like a strong relationship with people and put it to relationship first, while the United States don't really value the strong relationship and prefer to put their job first instead of the relationship. So I think this example may give like example to the comparison between the two countries. So I think this is the best one for me. And maybe other example is like the high context culture will have non-verbal communication in their everyday life. And I think it's important to be analyzed between the high context and the low context, because with this characteristic we can be more aware, and also can be beneficial for us also to learn the differences between the countries that have high context culture and also low context culture. So maybe Nabila want to add something?
Okay, so for me, it's also Hall's model, since it's clearly depicts the characteristic of the low context and high context communicators, and see how like us the Indonesians is more into a high context communicator, which needs more understanding in receiving what other people want to say, and also the characteristics of building and maintaining relationships over the completion of the task, and also valuing harmony, consensus, and mutual respect in interpersonal interaction. And I think this cultural orientation can be seen in various aspects in Indonesian society, from the smallest example is family to workplace culture, such as in my internship company. We as Indonesian may spend significant time in building relationship and establishing trust before discussing business matters, and also like doing a project. We beforehand we like did a lot of like bonding session, and also like just discussion and sort of like building harmony. And then we also like sort of handle or be in the same project with foreigners. So I think understanding the low context and high context may be very useful if we want to like sort of interact with people from like different communication style with us. So by understanding the Hall's model, I learned a lot on the importance of cultural sensitivity and adaptability in cross-cultural interaction. How about you guys?
Okay, I think I do same with the Evita and Nabila. So the model that make me understand is Hall's model. So we know that Hall's model is divided into high context and low context, but also Hall's models also divided into time and space, which is about the monochronic and polychronic. But for the high and low, it's focuses on how people in different cultures communicates. Then I understood this model when I tried to do the last assignment from Bulala. And I think I agree with this model because this model explains more clearly where each context explains different characteristics that related to culture communicates. So, setiap konteks itu punya faktornya tersendiri gitu loh. Jadi kita tahu mana yang height sama low-nya kayak gimana. But that what I learned in the high context, it's more explicit and then less important, and then the people is indirect, and also relations and trust are crucial. And for example, in business meeting in Japan, they apply high context cultures because a lot of communications might be happens indirectly, and nonverbal cues and the context of the conversations are significant. And then for this country, hesitations might be a polite way of expressing disagreements rather than directly say no. And then for the low context, maybe it's more direct, and then it express their thoughts and opinions explicitly. And the context, it's more nonverbal communications. Maybe, for example, in German business environments, they apply low context communications, so they tends to be direct and straightforward. For example, that German peoples might explicitly say no or openly disagree in a meeting if they have a different opinion, as a directness is valued and not typically seen as disrespectful. I think that's it. And how about you guys?
Okay, my opinion is a little different between you guys, because of all the many models that the model helps me to understand intercultural people is hosted. Since I have used hosted models several times, if we use this model, a very detailed explanation will immediately appear for each category, such as individualism, power distance, etc. Those things are explained in great detail so we can understand other intercultural people's personalities so well. For example, I will use the same example, which is Indonesia and US, and I will state about the power distance. Based on the hosted models comparison, Indonesia score in 78 in power distance, which means that the following characteristic Indonesia style be dependent on hierarchy, unequal rights between power holder and non-power holders, superiors in accessible leaders are defective, management controls are delegates. That means that Indonesia hierarchy power is still high. So in the work environment, if we karyawan and we have a atasan like manager or boss, we just tend to follow the instruction of our bosses or manager, and we just do the assignment that assigned to us. Different like United States, in the power distance, United States low score, which is 40. The American premise of liberty and justice for all. This is also evidenced by the focus on equal rights in all aspects of American society and government. That means in United States, hierarchy power is relatively low, where people can express their own opinion, feelings, and etc. It's not like Indonesia, we just need to follow instruction, but karyawan juga bisa kasih pendapat ke atasan dan dalam meeting in work environment. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay. So for me, I do agree with most of you guys that the house model helps us understand about the high versus low context. But like in general, about the cultural differences factors, I agree with Aldrino. The model that has generally helped me understand myself and others is the Hofstad's model. The others that I mean here is people from Indonesia and also people from other countries. Like for example, the Hofstad's model explains about power distance and individualism and also other factors. And the Hofstede models also like shows a concrete score of the factors. So like we can easily compare between countries, and that's how I think that it helped me understand Indonesian and also people from other country. Like for example, the high power distance level, like Aldrino said before, the higher power distance level of Indonesia is 78, and I think that explains why the hierarchical level here is very important. Like for example, in a workplace context, we have to call our superiors or bosses in a certain way, like with ka or mba or pa if they're like much older. And this also applies in the context of decision making, like where the decision making process is very like top down, like when there is a decision or a command, it comes from the highest level and then to the lowest level. So the employees who are in the lower level would just receive orders or do what their superiors tell them to do. And this doesn't apply like in the country like Netherlands. Like they're very more egalitarian, so people can call other people that are older just by name, and there's nothing wrong with that. And they're also more consensual in terms of decision making. Like the lower level employees are more heard and plays a bigger role in decision making. And also in the context of individualism, Indonesia has a really low score of 5, and I think this explains why me and most other Indonesians are very collectivist. Like we put forward the common interest compared to our individual interests. Like for example, the simplest example I can give you guys is when me and my friends are trying to decide where to eat. Like everyone always starts by asking the others like, kalian mau makan apa? Where do you guys want to eat? Like everyone would just say, terserah, up to you guys, because nobody wants to dominate or like hurt the others by making a decision that is not based on consensus that can benefit everyone. So therefore, it takes quite some time just to decide where to eat. And at last, we had to do like list out the different options and pick the restaurant that had more votes, the most votes. So like and the decision has to be like consensus and very beneficial to everyone. And it's different with countries like Netherlands, the US, they're like more individualist. Yeah, I think that's all for me, guys. Thank you. Maybe you can move to the next question.
Okay, so I think after I heard about Dino and Sarah opinions, I also realized that the difference between like the host model and Hofstad's models like more into their context and also their dimensions to interpret the behaviors and also the attitudes in different countries, I think. Yeah, but I think these models can be used to complete each other to understand more about their culture, their behavior, their way of thinking the countries. So I think I also agree to what Dino and Sarah said. So maybe we'll move on to questions 3. The third one is about the diversity and conflict management. We refer to the debate motions in cake shop case, the hijab case, and our discussion right now, especially about the way of people think, where they come from, or the way we manage conflicts with the differences that we have. What improvement are important to have to manage our conflict better? So I think from the debate motions and also what we have discussed today, I realized that many people do have variety of options and way of thinking. At first, before I entered this class and also before I discussed with the friends and teachers in this class, I think that maybe our opinion would be similar with each other. So that is before I entered the class. But I realized that with different background that we have, it really affects the way of thinking and the belief that we have. So the biggest difference is when I saw people when they have lived abroad. So one time I have a group with cutting yang international. I do have different opinions with her because I think the biggest difference because she has lived abroad. It is because the differences in terms of culture, the communication style, the experience that she had, and many more. So I think this becomes a good thing to discuss because I can be more open and see many variations of perspective that me and my friends have, and also I've also realized that the context is very important. So I think to manage conflicts better, we need to have like the same perspective of the context on the conflicts to be more clear and to have set to have the same perspective in the situation itself because the slightly different thoughts on the context I think may affect the way of our thinking and also beliefs. I think it's that is from me. What about you guys?
Okay, so for the case of, for example, the cake shop owner, I understand that people have different principles that we have to, of course, respect. But sometimes conflict could arise when it comes to, let's say, human rights or other contributing factors that demand people to respect, but in a form of tolerating others' principle by agreeing to them, and eventually it can set a conflict within ourselves. So I'm saying that it is better to like sometimes say, okay, I get it when it comes to dealing with people's different way of thinking, as long as they have a valid reasoning behind it and not just dragging other people down with no absolute reasoning. And instead, sometimes all we need is a little bit of compassion to sort of naturalize the conflicts of differences. And I think the best way to like deal with the conflict, as I'm more into integrating conflict management styles. Uh, in some cases, we cannot compromise and we cannot collaborate because of each different principle and value. So I think it is best to integrate conflict to other alternative without having to participate anymore. Uh, for example, in that case is the cake shop owner had advised the man to buy regular cake without any like religious matter in it, or go to other cake shop. And I think he has done a good like solution for them. And then for example, the closest example of me is when my family go shopping. We of course have different things to look for. So we firstly we state what we want to look for and what shop we want to visit. And if we both want to go, we go there first, and then the rest we go separate ways to look for what we want. So we have no problem with differences, and also we got the best solution to do it efficiently also. What about you?
So I will give the general explanations maybe about all of the case that we learned before. So with the case analysis that carry out in a group, of course, there will be many different perspectives from each group member. So every comment from me or another friend will be different because we have different thoughts, we have different opinions on how to solve a problems. So however, for me, the difference in perspectives will make me know various insights that I didn't think or I didn't know before. So I will learn more and see things from a different perspectives from others. So therefore, I think it's very important to have productive discussions with the teams. It must be to have active listening, empathy, and active conversations to find the point that we can help people to have a beneficial conversations in solving the problems. Beside that, I think it's also important for each individual to understand the problems so that during the discussions process, everyone will have their own understandings, understand about what is being discussed, and being be active in giving their opinions. I think that's it. How about you guys?
Okay, I mostly agree with all of your statements, referring the debate motions, shop case, hijab case. I learned that everyone has their own thinking that we didn't know. Even our closest person that we think we know how they think, how will they react, what they're thinking. Every people has their uh, own mindset and thinking. The key that we need to implement and improve in the society, which is respect. If we respect with others people thinking, everyone thinking, conflict will less be konflik bakal sedikit muncul, bakal nggak banyak konflik because we respect each other thinking and choices. So the thing that apa ya, kita belajar, we learn a lot of perspective when doing the debate motion, shop case and hijab case. A lot of people has their own conflict management styles. Untuk menarik garis besar dari semuanya itu, the key point is still respect with each other, and everything will be go smoothly. But I haven't been a team with foreign student, but in the SBM ITB, that every people that I know for several years have their own perspective and thinking, so I respect all of them, and that make every people will berteman dengan baik dan punya hubungan baik dengan semua orang di lingkungannya. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, I also agree with you guys, but I just want to emphasize that I think how myself and my colleagues responded to the emotions and also the cases were affected by our differences in cultural identity background. Like everyone views these motions and cases from various points of views, and I think there's no right or wrong answer to this, and we should just respect everyone's opinions on the cases and also the motions. Even if me and my colleague of mine has the same gender, the same religious background, same social economic class, we can still have different opinions on certain motions and cases because of the different cultural backgrounds that we got, maybe from our family, or like maybe I'm more conservative and she or he is more like open-minded. And I'm gonna give like an example. Like for example, when we were talking about the gender neutral restroom, like for myself, because of my religious background that I have, like having restrooms that are gender neutral would be something that is not aligned with what my religion teaches me. Like any respective gender in my religion has this thing called aurat. So like there are body parts that are not allowed to be seen by other respective genders. So I think it would not be comfortable. But however, there are my colleagues that view this motion from a different point of view, like that I didn't even think of in the first place. Like she said that this is an effort It is an effort so that everyone who may not have a specific gender can deserve and feel safe and also be comfortable using the restroom. Maybe some people will be afraid of gender or sexual harassment. However, if you look at the cases of sexual harassment, it can happen anytime, anywhere, and can happen to everyone from different genders. So, like, of course, like having a gender neutral restroom somewhere can foster a more inclusive environment that shows that the surrounding cares about diversity and actually respects and values everyone who they are and how they contribute to the society, but not viewing them by what their gender is. And so from hearing different opinions from my colleagues, it kind of really opened my mind more about like viewing these cases from like various point of views and not just for, like from one stance. Like, and then in addition, talking about the conflict management and how to like improve and manage conflicts better. I will give an example from the cake shop owner case. Like, I also learned about myself and how my way of thinking and conflict management skill is different from the people in the video, like because of the different cultural identity that we have. Like, I think the cake shop owner video really portrays a one-sided domination, which is from the gay couple. They have like a domination style, conflict management style. They also got support like from the government that forces the cake shop owner to serve everyone, regardless of his beliefs. I can see how the government and the gay couple is very dominating because they are really bringing everyone to the opposition of the cake shop owner, and I do not agree with what they are doing because my conflict management style is more leaning towards integrating. So if I could give like my advice to manage the conflicts better, I think it's better to have concern for every party and not just like prioritizing the interests of a particular party. Like if I were the third party in this case, I would take my time to like hear from the cake shop owner's point of view and also like make him feel heard and not dominating him. And if this issue is addressed using the integrating conflict management style, I think that the gay couple can just respect the cake shop owner beliefs and like find another cake shops. Like I think this cases also teaches me that there are different types of conflict management styles, and I can also think of ways of how I would implement my conflict management styles if I were like faced by these type of cases. I think that's it for me, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I really agree with Sarah also because for me the how we can manage the conflicts also to know what other people conflict management type, so their communication type also, so we not be egois kayak pendapat kita sendiri sampai terlalu dominating. But I think the most important one is we cannot avoid the conflict that happen in our lives. So I think by doing the active listening, the tolerance and respect, also deal with other people that have different opinions. Like you guys said that there's no right and wrong answer, so we need to like, in my opinion, we need to like lower our ego also sometimes to like listen to other people and also think about their opinions. I think that is from me. Maybe anyone else want to add?
I'm good. I think it's enough.
If it is enough, maybe we can close these discussions. Thank you very much for listening our discussions.